Okay, picture this. You're sitting in the exam hall, the clock is ticking, and you're staring at a completely blank piece of paper. That little wave of panic starts to creep in, right? We've all been there. That empty page can feel like your biggest enemy. But what if I told you it's actually your greatest opportunity? Today, we're going to turn that panic into a rock-solid plan. So this is the big one, isn't it? How do you actually build that perfect answer? It can feel like every single history question is this brand new, impossible mountain to climb. But what if that's just not true? What if there's actually a kind of secret formula? A key that can unlock pretty much any history essay question they throw at you?
And that right there is the game changer. You're not just supposed to dump a bunch of facts onto a page and hope for the best. You're building an argument, something structured and powerful. And to do that, you need a blueprint, a simple, reliable model you can fall back on every single time to get your thoughts organized and show that examiner that you absolutely know your stuff. So let's get right into it. Before we even look at specific types of questions, we have to lay down the foundation. This is the bedrock of every single great essay, and it doesn't matter what the topic is.
And here it is, the absolute non-negotiable blueprint for success. Introduction, body, and conclusion. Seriously, think of it like a three-act story. Your introduction sets the scene. The body paragraphs are where all the action happens, where you build your case with evidence and analysis. And the conclusion? That's your big finale, where you tie everything together and leave the reader thinking. It sounds simple, but this is the foundation for absolutely everything.
This quote is basically your golden rule. Keep it clear, answer the question they actually asked, and use the key terms correctly. You pair these three ideas with that simple intro body conclusion structure, and I'm telling you, you are already miles ahead of the game. It really is that straightforward.
Okay, theory is great, but now for the fun part. Let's see how this actually works in practice. We're going to look at how that universal foundation gets adapted for the real types of questions you're going to face. I've grouped them into three main themes so you can really start to see the patterns.
So, our first theme is all about the craft of history itself. These are kind of the meta questions, you know? They're not just asking what happened, they're asking how we even know what happened in the first place. They're about what history actually is. Okay, check out the pattern here. One question is about the difference between the past, which is literally everything that ever happened, and history, which is the story we tell about it. The other is about source criticism. They sound totally different, right? But look at the structure. It's exactly the same. First, you define your terms. Then, you describe the process a historian uses, like research or critiquing sources. Then, you explain why it's so important. And finally, you wrap it all up with a summary. See? It's a clear, logical path every time. All right, next up, the big picture questions. We're talking about those massive transformations. You know, revolutions, the invention of farming, that kind of thing. These are all about cause and effect, but on a huge societal scale.
Now, what's so cool about this slide is seeing how consistent the blueprint is for any change over time question. It doesn't matter if it's the Neolithic Revolution or the invention of writing, the structure is identical. First, you describe how things were before the change. This is so important because it gives you a baseline to measure against. Then, you break the change down into different areas of life, analyze the good and the bad, and finally, reflect on why it all mattered in the long run.
And our final theme, this is where we connect the dots between how societies are run, who has power, and the physical world around them. These questions usually ask you to do one of two things. Either compare different systems, like two kinds of government, or analyze how geography, the rivers, the mountains, the climate, shaped a civilization. This slide shows two more really powerful blueprints. On the left, for a comparison question, like ancient Athens versus modern democracy, you don't just list random facts. No way. You create clear categories to compare. Who got to be a citizen? How were decisions actually made? What did equality really mean? That gives your answer structure. And on the right, for an analysis question, like why did this civilization pop up here, you break it down into key factors. You look at the climate, the role of rivers, the geography. In both cases, you're going way beyond just listing facts, and you're building a real systematic analysis.
So, by now you're seeing the patterns. You're seeing these recurring themes. Now let's just be really clear about why this is your secret weapon in an exam.
Okay, this is the most crucial point. A blueprint isn't just about making your answer look neat. It actually forces you to think like a historian. It helps you build a logical argument that leads your reader from a clear starting point to a powerful conclusion. The examiner isn't just looking for what you know, they're looking for how well you can use what you know to prove a point. And structure is the tool that lets you do exactly that.
So after all this, that blank page really shouldn't feel so scary anymore. It should feel like an opportunity. Because now you have the tools, you have the blueprints to build a fantastic answer to pretty much any question that comes your way.
So, let's just lock in the main takeaways. Number 1, always, always, always start with that universal foundation, intro, body, conclusion. 2, figure out what kind of question it is and then pick the right blueprint for it. Are you comparing things? Are you analyzing change? And 3, just remember that these blueprints aren't a restriction. They're a tool. They free you up from worrying about how to organize your thoughts so you can focus on the important part, building a brilliant argument.
Because when you get right down to it, that's what a great history essay is. It's not just an answer to a question on a test. It's a well-told story, backed up by evidence and built with a clear purpose. You've got the blueprints, now go build something incredible.